Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie. For today's video, we are watching the original The Wicker Man from 1973. I know really nothing about this film. I just know that there's like a big, I guess, wicker statue shaped like a man thing on the cover of this film. And about, of course, the Nicolas Cage remake with like the bee scene. That's all I know about this film. I'm going into this one completely blind, so I have no real before thoughts for this one. So I will just let you guys know what my afterthoughts are. Be right back.
Please. Now, those children out there, they're jumping through the flames in the hope that the god of fire will make them fruitful. Really, you can hardly blame them. After all, what girl would not prefer the child of a god to that of some acne-scarred artisan?
And you encourage them in this?
Actively. It's most important that each new generation born on Summer Isle be made aware that here the old gods aren't dead.
And what of the true God, to whose glory churches and monasteries have been built on these islands for generations past? Now, sir, what of him?
Well, he's dead. He can't complain. He had his chance, and in modern parlance, blew it.
Wow, so just finished, and this is a weird one, you guys. Like, I mean, I expected it to be like a little strange, given, like I said, I've seen clips from the remake, but I'm not sure what I was expecting with this one. It is, like I said, it's just fucking weird film. So it's about this man who is a police officer. I think he's supposed to be from like England. I'm not sure. He keeps saying like the mainland, but he goes to this island that is supposed to be like Irish, from what I gathered. It's a little bit weird because you have people with all sorts of different accents, and you definitely have actors like trying to do Irish accents and not doing them very well. But he goes to this island to investigate the disappearance of a little girl. He is sent a photo and told that she's missing, so of course he goes to the island. And he even mentions at one point that like the letter was addressed to him personally, not just like to the police or whatever. So I feel like that should have been a first sign to this man that maybe something was like a little bit weird. And he is just getting kind of the runaround. At first he's told like, oh, she doesn't exist, and then like he definitely like just is like, okay, something is going on with this island, and I feel like I should have seen the ending coming. I'm gonna get into spoilers, so just spoiler warning in case you have not seen this. But yeah, so the people of town are kind of giving him this runaround. And eventually, he kind of figures out that she's not really missing. He believes that she's being like held hostage for a sacrifice because like their crops died, or I guess weren't prosperous. So he believes that they're going to sacrifice her to the gods. And this movie is definitely one that plays heavily with like religion and beliefs. The people of the island are like a little bit kind of cultish, but at first you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, they're just the people that like believe in gods and have their own thing going on. And he is this sergeant is very Christian. He, you know, very strongly believes in his one god, which is fine. I'm not really a religious person. I'm just kind of, I don't know, but I'm not gonna talk so much about myself, but if you are, that is fine. And yeah, he just like, you know, he believes in his one god, but he kind of like tries to really force it on these people. And he talks, you know, he refers to them as being like pagans who are doing like these horrible sacrilege things, which I was not a big fan of. This movie does kind of paint paganism in a very bad light. Not that I like really follow that or anything, but yeah, this guy just kind of like shoves his religion kind of on, tries to shove it onto people. And I mean, he does mention that while they may be like their own island, they are still under like a Christian country, I guess. So I mean, this is the 70s. I don't really like know what was going on as far as like religion and things back then. You know, but I do know that was like a big thing of like countries identifying with one, and especially with like England, and they would like push that onto other people. And like, this guy is just kind of an ass in general. Like, he really uses his like being a police to kind of like push these people around. He like threatens to arrest them a lot if they don't like give in to him right away, and he's very much like, I'm a police officer, and you're just, no, that doesn't count. And they kind of sort of ask him if he has, if he has like a warrant, sort of. And I mean, they keep kind of referring to getting permission by this lord, who you don't really meet until like 45 minutes into the movie, but he's played by very young Christopher Lee, who is of course fantastic in this. And he just like, but at the 45-minute mark, when you do meet him, I really enjoyed that scene. It's probably my favorite scene in the film. Even though it's so far into the film's only like less than an hour and a half. So it's not a super long film, which is actually kind of nice. But the scene between these two characters, I really, really like, because obviously they have different religious beliefs. But at one point, the sergeant, he's trying to get at this point in the film, he still thinks that the young girl is dead, and has been buried, because he's kind of led to believe that. And newsflash, she's not. But he ends up kind of like going to this lord, trying to get the right like permission to exhume the body, send it back to England, so they can like basically do an autopsy and find out why, like, cause of death. And the Lord gives him permission, and so he's just kind of like, you seem like not that worried about it. And the Lord's like, well, we don't murder on this island, basically. He's like, we are very religious people. And then the sergeant is like, how are you religious with all this, like, crazy stuff you're doing? And because this film has like a lot of sex. Like, there's one scene where he literally, he literally like walks just like out of this inn that he's staying into a like field where people are just having sex, like just out in the open. And they're very like just free body about it, a little hippie-ish, like I said, a little cultish. But he's saying all this stuff to the Lord, and he said, and in response, the Lord is talking about how they basically, keep going off on our edge. It's hard to keep like your thoughts together with this film because there's so much that's like going on. But outside of the Lord's, like, I guess, castle or whatever that he stays in, there's like this kind of ritual going on. There's like children dancing over like a fire, and trying to and the Lord like basically talks about how they kind of believe in like impregnation without like the act of sex, I guess. So they do like these rituals. And another aspect of this film that's weird is there's a lot of singing in it, and the songs are sometimes they're like, what the fuck? But after the Lord says that, the sergeant is like, have these children like never heard of Jesus or whatever, like still pushing his own agenda. He says something along the lines of like, birthed by a virgin, impregnated by, I believe, a ghost, which I actually kind of like really liked that line. Like I said, I have nothing against anyone's beliefs. I thought that was like a very interesting argument, given the fact that this very Christian man is like arguing against everything that they believe with his own belief. Anyway, I really like that scene. But to get to the ending, like I said, the sergeant believes that this girl is being held hostage to be a sacrifice, but you find out that that's not entirely true. She is still alive, but you find out that basically the townspeople have been feeding this man information to kind of like persuade, like to kind of convince him that that's happening. Like they wanted him to believe that so that they could get him to this like sacrificial area, and he ends up becoming sacrificed. And I feel like that's something I should have seen coming. And when it got to the point where he shows up to kind of rescue her, I definitely was like, oh shit, like he gonna be the sacrifice. And then they confirmed it. So I'm sure there's people that watch this and figure that out way earlier than I did, but I didn't, and I kind of like that I didn't. And so I kind of like that I went into this not really knowing anything about it. It's a weird one, guys. Like I said, I know I said that a couple times at the beginning, but it really is a strange one. It's definitely a film that like kept my attention. I can get a little bit distracted, but yeah, this film, I was just like, there's so much going on, I have to watch and find out what the hell. But I do still have some kind of weird feelings about it, like I said, like the kind of betrayal of like pagans. So I don't know, it's like hard to say to like recommend this film, but I wouldn't say to like avoid it either. I definitely think if it's something that you're still interested in watching, if you haven't seen it, and you're just like, wow, I gotta see this for myself, definitely suggest checking it out. Cause yeah, it's a weird one. I watched it, I think I actually ended up having to rent it on YouTube. I looked around, couldn't really find it anywhere, so ended up renting it on there, and yeah. I don't know really what my feelings are about this film, to be honest. But if you have seen this film, let me know what your thoughts are on it in the comments below. If you did enjoy this, even though I do apologize, I know it's all over the place. It's just like, I'm just spouting off the top of my head. This is not scripted, so I literally like turn off this movie and just pick up my camera and tell you guys my thoughts. So that's why some of these are a little like rambled, especially because I tend to like have thoughts that pop up into my head while I'm watching, and I take some notes so that I can remember certain things, but sometimes there's just like thought after thought that pops up. So I'm sure you guys can understand that. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you did enjoy this, please do give it a big old thumbs up and make sure that you hit that subscribe button for more horror related content, and I will see you guys again tomorrow with another video.